Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donnelly Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Saturday from 1 to 2 o'clock. Unlike Seinfeld, the show about nothing, we have a show about something. And we have a lot to talk about this week. I'm Susan, and I'm here with Randy Donnelly. We are the owners of Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, folks. Come on out and see us. We're here today to help you determine if you have any valuable items at home that you may want to sell at auction. And we're going to get into that later in this episode. But right now, wow. Hi, Randy. We have a lot to talk about.
Good afternoon, Susan.
About the auction we just held last week.
Oh, my gosh. We sure do. What an auction.
It was our annual Spring Classic. It was 3 days. As you all remember from last week, we talked about Sean Thompson. He was here on Wednesday. Thanks again, Sean, for coming out. We loved meeting you. It was a great turnout.
Always fun with Sean.
And then we held the auction.
He's always got a lot to say.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. It was really fun. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we held our annual Spring Classic. And Randy, I'd like you to touch a little bit on some of the highlights.
Oh, my goodness. Susan, there's where do you start? Nickelodeons really did extremely well. I mean, we sold the Seaberg G for, my goodness, $32,000.
Well, yeah, and the reason for telling everybody is in case you have any of these items at home, we want to make sure you are aware of the value of these items that you may have.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, these were machines that came right out of a home in Western Springs. Or was it Westchester? It doesn't matter.
Something with the W.
But one of the suburbs. And, one of his music boxes, $8,500. Another Nickelodeon, $18,000. A jukebox, $19,000.
Oh, that Rockola that we've been promoting, the
goodness.
1418 Rockola sold for $18,000, folks. $19,000.
Yeah.
So if you have a jukebox out there in your basement, in the garage, give us a call. We'll take them even if they aren't working. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. But, we don't want to mislead you and lead you to think every jukebox is worth big money because they're not. But on the other hand, jukeboxes that are even in the $300 to $500 range, I mean, you want to get the most you can for a jukebox.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter whether they're working. So many people tell me, it's junk, it doesn't work. Well, that's ridiculous. They sell in all condition, and it's not uncommon at all to find jukeboxes still in garages or basements that are in the mid-thousands, that are $2,000-$3,000.
They still sell well. People are still collecting them, a lot of the vintage music items for sure. And the lady who bought the Rockola was so excited because she has a collection of about 50 jukeboxes in her home. I can only imagine what that sounds like at Christmas time, but she had to have this Rockola, and she got it. She's so excited, and she's already got somebody coming to pick it up.
But, that's, again, one of the reasons we're on the air right now, because if you have just one item or you're the person with the collection of 50,
right,
we're the people that can help you make it fit in your wallet.
That's right. And, depending on what you have and where you're located, we have a crew. We'll send them out there with a truck and trailer and help you offload it and get it out of the house.
Yeah. But more importantly, I'm always available to come out and do an assessment for you. There's no charge for that. We'll come out to your house and give you some thoughts and ideas as to what you have.
That's right. I like to call it a no obligation chat.
That's right.
Don't feel pressured at all. We're not like that. We're just trying to help you downsize and give you direction on your next steps. We're very honest here at Donnelly Auctions.
Some of the other things that sold this weekend, motorcycles sold very well, but why not?
It is spring, right? I think it's going to be spring sometime here in Chicago.
And the cars, the Cadillac convertible, of course, who doesn't want to be driving around in a 74 Cadillac Eldorado?
I also sold the Steyr.
That's going to a museum, is it not?
The Steyr is going to the Sarasota Car Museum.
Nice.
And that's the one that was in the movie The Last Crusade.
With Harrison Ford.
So, Yes, it was a good sale on some of those old cars.
And that car came right out of a building here in Schaumburg, Illinois. I mean, the beauty of where we're at in the Chicago area with the suburbs and everything, there's so much merchandise that you have out there. That's why, again, we're on the air to let you know how to liquidate and how to sell these things. Auction is by far the best method, because it's a worldwide market now. Again, where are you going to find a buyer in Sarasota, Florida? Or, we even sold things overseas. We were selling into Switzerland this weekend. It was just crazy.
Well, I want to talk about the cars, too, because they don't have to be showroom quality, but they do need to be mint, clean, low miles, to sell really well, like that Cadillac sold.
For big money, yeah. But on the other hand, how many times do we get Model A's or old pickup trucks and everything that, to use the picker's expression, they always call it rusty gold. And it really, truly is. I mean, when you say it doesn't have to be in good condition, a lot of people rat rod these vehicles these days. So
showroom quality, that's different than good condition. We want good condition, but
but we'll take the rat rods also.
Yes, and like the Mercedes, that was a beauty.
Oh, that was
the Mercedes was a beauty.
What a car! Yeah.
So the auction was a success.
That it was, and
we're ready for the next one.
The next one, of course, we've already touched base in the last few weeks about the upcoming gun and military auction.
That's right. Goodness. The May auction is May 20th and 21st. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. Guns, ammunition, gun accessories, sportsman gear on Saturday.
Right.
On Sunday, military, memorabilia, uniforms, helmets, insignia, medals,
swords, daggers, bayonets.
The list goes on.
Anything and everything. And, of course, we have not one now, but two cannons.
Two cannons. We're known for cannons.
We asked out there, we asked our listeners, hey, do you have a cannon? One came out of Palatine, out of
That's right.
a garden. And the other was found in a corn crib in Wisconsin.
That's right. So we got some cannons. And Neil, our gun expert, who is on our employment here at Donnelly Auctions, is on his way to pick up more guns. So it's really not too late. If you do have something to consign, 1, 2, 20, or 200 guns, give us a call at 815-923-7000.
And not only necessarily for this auction, but keep in mind that we run gun auctions continuously throughout the year. So after May, our next one again is July. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, we have more coming in that's going to miss the mark for this one. We already talked to them. We'll pick them up later for the July auction.
So keep the calls and emails coming.
And, that reminds me, I got an email today from a listener who just listed off a bunch of guns and ammo and some boxes and cases and accessories that he had. And we're sending Neil out there today to pick them up. So, again, just email us at consign@donnellyauctions.com. Give us a brief description of what you have. Photos would be great, and we'll put you in the queue for review, and we'll have Neil give you a call and talk about your collection.
And or what phone number. A lot of people don't want to. Old-timers like me, Susan. I mean, I'm not a computer guy.
When you call at 815-923-7000, we ask you to send us an email anyway. It just helps to have you in the queue so we can see photos and understand what you have. To make those next steps. But if
you're a phone person, just ask for Randy.
Ask for Randy, and then he'll talk you through the whole process.
You bet.
Whatever it takes, we'll be sure to help you.
And the number again.
815-923-7000. Give us a call, folks. Again, our next gun and military auctions, May. I would say we're taking consignments for that up through next week, and then that's it. And then the next one will be in July.
Right.
You want to talk about a couple of the great items we have coming up in the May auction? I know you touched base on it last week, but I want to remind our listeners about the Northfield, Minnesota firearm.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? We might call Mike Donnelly a little later in the show to talk about that, because we've got some fabulous items coming up. This pistol that was used in the Northfield raid was actually the sheriff's gun from Northfield, Minnesota, Sheriff Glispin. Correct?
Glispin, yes.
And he actually shot and killed Charlie Pitts with this gun right after the raid when the posse went and chased down the Jesse James and younger brother gang. And what a gun battle. And this gun is so historic, so well documented. It's just crazy.
We'll talk more about that, too, and some other great items coming up in May. But don't go anywhere, because in our next segment, we're going to have a special guest. His name is Ryan. He's one of our employees, and he is a coin expert. Actually, he's an expert in a lot of fields.
Many fields. Sports memorabilia.
Cards and sports memorabilia. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I think a lot of that can be extremely valuable. Ryan's going to let you know what is and is not. So hang on for that. Coins, sports memorabilia. We're going to talk more about some upcoming auctions and what's valuable at your house. We're going to help you fit it in your wallet, folks. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer. Ryan Boyle coming up next.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I am co-owner of Donley Auctions here today with Randy Donler, my partner here. And I forgot to tell you, Randy, last week I was out country dancing and a fan came up to me and asked if I was Susan from the Donley Auctions Hour. I have a fan.
You got recognized.
His name is Wade. I told him I'd give him a shout out. Wade, you are now officially the president of my fan club, just so you know. But it's great that our listeners are actually hearing about us. So I love that. So keep the emails and phone calls coming in, folks. We love our radio show. And today we're actually going to provide you some more information. You had a question, right?
Yeah, I want to know how he recognized you. Did he recognize your voice? Because obviously they can't see us.
He listens to the show, and I had my Donley Auctions coat on.
Okay.
And I think he just came up and asked if I was Susan from the radio show.
Yeah,
so
that's
thanks,
nice.
Wade. That was nice.
Very nice.
But we have a special guest on today. His name is Ryan Boyle. He works for us at Donley Auctions, and he is our coin and sports memorabilia consultant. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, guys. How you doing today?
We're good. Thanks for coming on the show with us. We want to talk about what's hot in the coin and sport memorabilia industry.
Yeah, Ryan, now you've been with us, about 2 years already, right?
Yeah, I believe we're going on 3.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. But, what kills me is that with all the stuff that we're always doing around the auction gallery and everything, we very rarely promote for coins, yet that is such a big industry today and everything. And you actually got your start, correct, in the coin business. You used to work at a coin shop.
Yeah, yes. I have. I worked for a coin store for just over about a decade. And I collected for probably about coins. I collected for probably about 5 years prior to that. Sports memorabilia, I've been personally collecting since I've been, I'll just leave it at 35 years.
Because you're a youngster still. So you've been collecting a long time.
It's such a hot field right now, both coins and sports memorabilia. It's something we just don't promote enough for. But certainly I want our listeners out there to know that, yes, we're always looking for coin collections and everything. And what's the news with that 1955 double die that just brought such big money?
It's just a super rare error, and it's one of those things that collectors tend to gravitate towards. The collectors want the best of the best, and I believe that was just one of the best examples known to come up to market recently.
And correct me, was it a nickel that actually was struck twice, and they call it a double die? The date actually is struck twice on the nickel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
It would. The 55 would be almost on top of one another. So
and what did that go for? Do you remember the number? It was huge.
It was a massive number off the top of my head. It's escaping me, but
it's in the millions, though. It's a huge number. Sorry to put you on the spot with that. But,
millions.
No joke.
Oh, yeah.
So folks, you have to check these things out. But when Ryan and I were talking a couple days ago, you made a really good point about when you used to work for a coin shop and a pawn shop. Your job then. Tell the listeners, your job was to get things as cheap as possible because that's how your company made money. So as people would come in, your job was to do what? Explain to our listeners.
To basically get the item for as cheaply as possible. You have to pay something for it, but, unfortunately, I'll tell you, probably the worst thing that you could do is go into a coin or pawn store and say something like, I'm not sure what I have here. Just basically admitting that you're uneducated on the subject because you're just basically giving them the okay to just, I'm going to be at 15, 20% of what this is worth. And I could probably, take it home.
And I'm not saying that coin shops and this are unethical by any means. That's not what I'm trying to imply to our listeners. But you made the point that when they sell at auction, it's just the opposite. Our job is to actually get them the most money because we get a percentage of the top selling price. So we don't want things, we're not trying to buy stuff cheap. We're trying to get them the most money. It's kind of just the opposite program, correct?
Yes, exactly. I'll tell you, I love the subject matter, but I feel a lot better about myself in this role because it's truly, I want everything that we get to sell for, record pricing. I mean, and I'm not trying to, whereas at the other, position, you're just trying to take possession of the thing and then let's figure out what the true value is on the back end. Here, we research every item. We look at, current, past auctions and trends. And, we want to always be on the top. And that's ultimately our goal in here. We're truly, when you go to auction, you are entering into a true partnership where, we want to we probably want the item to sell for more than the actual consignor in many cases.
That's right.
A lot of times I'm rooting and, I'm just, come on, let's do this. And, it normally, we've been pretty successful with it. So
that's right. Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about what types of coins we should be looking at? What did you go pick up yesterday? I saw you went on a field trip yesterday to pick up some coins because I get a lot of requests for wheat pennies and things like that. Can you be more specific on what kind of coins we should be auctioning?
Well, with coins, generally you have, ones that are, their numismatic value is greater than their melt value. So you always have the 90% silver, which is basically U.S. currency 1964 and older is basically 90% silver. So, for instance, a 1964 Washington quarter in melt value, you have about $4.55. Now, this is where it gets tricky because if you get it graded, if you get an MS-66, you're looking at $30 to $50. If you get it in MS-67, you're up to $600. So that's kind of the where you need to be educated because there's a lot of years where, you assume that, this is a $20, $30 coin. So, yeah, it is. But when you get in that high grade, which granted 67 is very high, but I mean, if you're not cognizant of that, then you can certainly, the goal is not to sell for $4.55 and melt it.
Sure. Now, silver dollars is one thing I know you're always looking for and picking up. Primarily, though, Morgan dollars, correct? And of course, Carson City mint marks.
Oh, yeah. Morgans are probably my favorite coins. And naturally, you gravitate towards the Carson cities, and those have incredible wealth. I mean, I was just looking recently in like the '89 Carson, an MS-61. You're looking $30,000 in some cases.
Wow.
Sometimes even more.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that do show up. So often people will walk in even to the auction hall with a bag full of coins, and they're just stuff that, the family has accumulated over the years, and they really need somebody to tell them what they have and everything. That's what we do. That's why we hire, people like you, of course, Ryan, to give people the honest answers.
So, Ryan, would it be best to have our listeners email or call, or would you want to talk to them on the phone direct? Would that be the easiest way to get a hold of us?
Yeah, either or. As with anything, photos help a lot because, with coins, I'll be honest, mint sets, generally, especially contemporary, there's some value there, but
okay.
A lot of times there's a lot more work involved in that than...
Ryan, we're going to hold that thought because I want listeners to give us a call at 815-923-7000 if you have any coins for Ryan, and we'll get Ryan on the phone and he can talk to you direct and give you next steps if he needs photos or anything like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Ryan, hang with us because in our next segment, we want to talk about sports memorabilia. Will you stay with us?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. You are listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're right here on AM 560, The Answer.
You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Thanks for sticking with us through that break. We have a special guest today, Ryan. He is a sports memorabilia expert. And Ryan, thanks for joining us. He's going to touch a little bit about sports cards in particular today, because those are items that are valuable if you know what you have.
But one thing that I do want to point out before Ryan answers that or talks about that is that we're not just looking for, baseball cards and that. We look for the memorabilia.
Right.
I mean, we're looking for uniforms and
baseballs,
boxing
hats.
gloves,
Yeah.
I mean, really interesting things because that's what sells at auction.
That was one of the most expensive items at the Chicago Joe's auction we did last year were those boxing gloves. Remember, they were hanging from the ceiling?
Yeah.
Boy, people love sports memorabilia, and I'm a huge sports fan. So tell us and our listeners, Ryan, what can we start selling at auction?
Well, I got to say the sports market is pretty hot right now, especially, and it's basically the whole gamut. Obviously the real choice stuff, the Manos, the DiMaggios, the Cobbs, that's always going to be large money. For instance, the Nolan Ryan autographed baseballs, you're talking, $1,000, and, he's still alive signing them. And that's graded, obviously. But and then with modern cards, Jordans, anything Jordan is really hot.
Right.
A lot of these modern sports card manufacturers make cards where they're put like a piece of a basketball court in the card or a piece of a game used jersey, and those cards get some really good money. And then you always got like 96 was Kobe's rookie year. You're talking $5 to $10,000 and $9,000.
Wow. Ryan, are you certified? Are you certified to appraise cards and evaluate them that way, or do you just kind of look at them and see what they have and go from there?
No, I kind of take a look at what they have and go from there. Now, cards and coins, you're going to get the best stuff is going to get top dollar will be graded. And for that, you would have to send it into there's basically 2 or 3 top graders, and then they would determine the condition of it. And based off of that, if you get a high grade, you're going to exceed a lot of, ideas of what the item was worth. And if it's lower, then,
Sure.
you get what you kind of see. But yeah, no, that definitely helps because unfortunately, as with everything now, there are a lot of counterfeits flown around.
Well, that's always the problem, and it has been a problem with sports memorabilia for so many years. All the fake autographs, the fake signatures, and everything. And even I'm told a lot of the COAs are actually fake. There's very few COAs in certificates of course, of authenticity. This is what a COA is, but there's only a few major companies that people even trust.
Absolutely. With coins, I would stay with PCGS, and then I would go with NGC. And then with sports, PSA is the number one. I like Beckett as number two. And then there's probably about 2 or 3 other names that, are acceptable, but those are the primary, the ones that people trust. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking to spend a good, investment, then you certainly want to, know what you're getting.
I've been warning people for years and years of the fake coins that are being sold right on eBay coming in from China. How they're continuing to get away with this, I do not know. But fake silver dollars, fake gold pieces, all these fake coins and currency that's being sold on the market right now that are so good. I took a bunch of silver dollars into a coin store to show my friend, how good the fakes were. And he was arguing with me. He wanted to buy them because he believed they were real. And I kept telling him, no, you don't get it. I just bought these for $2 a piece on eBay. They're fake. They're bad. And I just brought them in to show you. And even coin experts are getting fooled on how good the fakes are coming in this market.
Yes, and it's really unfortunate. It really is, because it really throws a damper into the whole collecting industry.
Right. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show today. Folks, our listeners out there, if you have any coins or sports cards or sports memorabilia, just a little trivia for you. Do you know what the most expensive baseball jersey sold for?
No.
It's the world record. Ryan, do you know? Babe Ruth's uniform for $5 million. But rumor has it that Jackie Robinson's uniform might go for more, like around $7. So anybody has anything like that, any Babe Ruth baseballs, let us know. Give us a call at 815-923-7000 for coins or sports memorabilia. Ask for Ryan. Or you can email us at consign@Donley, that's DONLEY, auctions.com.
That's right. And, of course, stay tuned. We're going to be talking actually in our next segment with Mike Donley because we've got a bunch of really great items that got consigned to us after we mentioned last week the pistol from Northfield, Minnesota. People have called us now with even more interesting items. I can't wait to tell you about it. We'll be on with Mike right after the break.
Stay tuned. Yeah, join us after the break for more interesting stories from Donley Auctions. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan, here with Randy Donley. We have another special guest, Mike Donley, Randy's brother, who is an antique expert, owner of the Wild West Town, military expert, has a lot of information and interesting stories for us. You guys are going to talk a little bit about some awesome items that came in for our May auction.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for coming on today, because I wanted to mention to our listeners that on our last show, we talked about the pistol that we have coming up in our May auction. That's just a few weeks from now. The Northfield, Minnesota Sheriff's pistol. And as we mentioned that, of course, lo and behold, we get a phone call from Woodstock, Illinois, with even more great merchandise that it's my understanding we're going to sell in July. But can you tell us a little bit about what came in?
Yeah, there's some really, really interesting stuff. First off, there was a Wyatt Earp vest, a documented Wyatt Earp vest, along with one of his little gambler derringers attributed to Wyatt Earp with a letter of provenance on that. Let's see, what else came in? Babyface Nelson artifacts. There's his watch ring and watch fob, which were given to him by the federal agents, given to his son by the federal agents who shot him.
Now, Babyface Nelson being one of the most notorious gangsters of that 1930s gangster era, correct?
Correct. After Bonnie and Clyde were killed, he became public enemy number one. So he was at the top of Hoover's list. So we have that passed down to the Sun and the letters of provenance and everything from the Sun on that. A great grouping of Bonnie and Clyde's things, including a documented Clyde Barrow pistol, a poem written by Clyde Barrow, pictures of original photos of Bonnie and Clyde, flowers from his grave, and even a small sample of the cloth cut from his pants after Bonnie and Clyde were shot in the car.
I mean, this is so incredible. I mean, to actually have in our possession for sale Clyde Barrow's pistol from Bonnie and Clyde. I mean,
such historic artifacts.
I just can't even imagine what that's worth. Do you have any pre-auction estimate on it yet?
You know, like anything else in an auction, it's going to go for what it's going to go for. But I think there's going to be enough interest on these that we're going to be talking, north of probably 30,000-40,000.
I would imagine. Yeah. You know,
I mean, his shirt went for like 200,000 or something like that. So yeah,
that it did. Yeah, but you know the beauty of this is we keep preaching to everybody that's listening that items have to have provenance. And the provenance on all these items that came in is impeccable. They actually came from a museum, correct?
That's right. Yeah, it was handed down from the Pony Express Museum out in Arcadia, California. That was I guess the name was Parker, was the guy who ran this museum, a wealthy guy out there in the 30s. And in the 1950s, he died. It got sold to Harrah's in Las Vegas, and then they displayed it for a while. And then Greg Martin, who was the foremost gun expert in the world, he bought it and auctioned it all off and split it up at that point. So there's a lot of the stuff came from there.
Yeah, it's so amazing to me all the time how much stuff comes right out of the Chicago area and suburbs. You know, we mention it on the air and people call us. I mean, it's just incredible. So we're always preaching to our listeners, give us a call or email us. And Susan, the email again is?
Yes, email us at consign@donleyauctions.com. Give us a brief description of what you have and some photos. That will help a lot to give you next steps.
And spell Donley, Donley.
Right. And if you're not a computer person, that's okay. Give us a call at 815-923-7000. We're going to talk more in our next segment about how you can actually bid on some of these items. Mike, are these items coming up in May or July?
These items are going to come up for July because we're doing a little more research on them, and we want to get the word out on them, too.
Yeah, I would think that requires a press release on some of that. It's pretty historic stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah, it'll be going out. All the news is going to know about it, and anybody who's anybody will find out about this one.
And of course, Mike, you know, we've got to remind our listeners out there that we're looking to add to this collection. So if you have any, gangster-related items, anything from the that just Al Capone period, there's so much great history still here in Chicago that people have in their homes. They've collected it up. They have it stored in warehouses. I mean, we're looking for big stuff, too. Right, Mike? We're looking for bars, back bars. We're looking for antique cars, guns.
We had an antique bar, an Al Capone bar, that you can now see at the Arcade Theater in St. Charles. That's where it lives now.
What else can you think of, Mike?
You're right. The Chicago was kind of the ground zero for the gangster era, so there's got to be Capone stuff floating around out there. I mean, it just has to be. So
every now and then,
Prohibition era, anything.
Yeah, every now and then, you mentioned the Prohibition. You'll find stuff from the old federal agents. You'll find bulletproof vests and things like this. And we're always, of course, looking for badges. More police badges and police memorabilia of all kinds, because, of course, we're looking for the good guys stuff, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's federal agent stuff. It's out there. It's just...
And, sometimes all it takes is a show like ours to remind people what they have. All of a sudden, they're hey, let's run up in the attic and look, we've got stuff in the trunk or down in the basement. There's so much stuff around the Chicago area and the suburbs.
That's right. And, we got to let our listeners know to remind them that we have eyes from all over the world on our auctions because we are on several bidding platforms. We take phone bids from all over the country. So thousands of people are watching the items that we do sell. So it's not just people from the Chicagoland area. It's all over the world. So again, you can call us at 815-923-7000, or you can email us. But Mike, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. It was great information, folks. Keep an eye out on our website at DonnellyAuctions.com. We've got several great auctions coming up. May, guns and military, and then, of course, the items Mike mentioned coming up in July.
And we're set up at Pecatonica this weekend at the gun show. Don't miss us.
Don't miss us. And we're here on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donnelly Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Susan and Randy here. We're talking about items that are valuable, that you may have at home, that you might want to sell at auction. And we want to explain to people how you can consign with us. And some of the specific items we talked about today: firearms, ammunition, military relics, sports memorabilia, coins. What else?
Anything and everything, you name it.
Pretty much, yeah. Let me just hit on a couple things that we don't sell, because I do get a lot of emails.
Sure, please do.
We probably get about 40 emails a day, and a lot of them are glassware, furniture. We got one for a refrigerator. You know, that kind of stuff, folks, we really don't specialize in some of that.
No, especially, we unfortunately, we're not the people that can sell your glassware or Hummels or collectibles.
Right. So that's why I want to be very specific on what we are looking for, because we theme our auctions around what we collect for auction. So, for example, May is guns, ammo, and military. June is going to be our phonograph and music box auction with radios. So we're looking for antique music for June.
Oh, and that would be everything. That's Nickelodeons. I mean, anything
microphones.
Big. Oh, microphones.
Yeah, microphones are big.
Yeah.
Things like that. So, we do get a lot of emails that, I'm sorry, we do have to reject. That's not what we're looking for. So we want to be specific here. And in July, like we mentioned, those great items that Mike Donnelly spoke about are coming up in July.
Yeah. But now don't forget, we've got a political auction ending May 15th. That's an online only.
It's an incredible political memorabilia collection.
Yeah.
So many great things, buttons and flags and banners and posters. Just some great stuff.
And
all the years.
I always want to remind all of our museums out there and lawyers and executors that we're here to help. I mean, we can work with museums and any law firms doing probate work and things like this, and executors. If you need to liquidate estates, call us or email us. Certainly, we can help with that.
Yep, and just a quick reminder, our phone number is 815-923-7000, or if you prefer to email us at consign@DonnellyAuctions.com. Send us pictures and a brief description of what you have, and I will distribute that information to our experts so we can get back to you in a few days with next steps.
And a reminder, too, that we have a real estate division that will be headed up by my daughter, Shauna Donnelly, a Chicago area realtor. And so we can do it all. I mean, we can sell the antiques out of your home and even the real estate if need be. So many people come in from out of state and have to settle in a state. And, we can be the one-stop shop for you. Get it all done.
That's right. Like Sean Thompson says, big or small, Donnelly Auctions does it all. That's us. And again, I know people are going to ask, how can we see those items you were just talking about on the show? Well, we usually have a preview set up right before the auction, so you can come out and look at all of these fantastic historic items we've been talking about. You can come out live. We do a live auction. You can also bid online, and all you have to do is go to our website at DonnellyAuctions.com. There's a button there that'll take you to online bidding. There is an extra fee for that, so we prefer for you to come out, or you can submit an absentee bid.
Sure.
That's an easy way to do it. It's just like if you were there. And same with the phone bids. I love getting on the phone. I was on the phone with so many people for the April auction, and it was just great to have them participate from across the country. So there's lots of ways to bid, folks. You're more than welcome to come out at any time. All of our information is on our website at DonnellyAuctions.com. Any last words, Randy?
No, well, yeah, we do have also a camera auction coming up. So if you've got anything in cameras, projection equipment out of old movie theaters, movie memorabilia, we're looking for it all.
That's right. Thanks for listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donnelly.
And
we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonnellyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonnellyAuctions.com.